My mother-in-law locked me inside a bathroom while I was in active labor at my sister-in-law's wedding. When I finally woke up in the hospital, my revenge left her speechless and completely cut off. My mother-in-law locked me in a locked bathroom while I was already in labor during my sister-in-law's wedding reception. By the time I regained consciousness in the delivery room, the consequences of my actions and my husband's had left her utterly stunned, powerless, and permanently excluded from our lives. My husband, Richard, 30M, and I, 29F, welcomed our first child, our daughter Me, exactly 2 weeks ago. We are over the moon, exhausted, and still trying to figure out this whole parenting thing. Life has been a whirlwind, and we're doing our best with very little outside help, mainly because of the nightmare that unfolded on the very day Me decided to make her entrance into the world. What happened that day still gives me chills. It remains one of the most terrifying experiences I've ever lived through. Even the overwhelming joy of holding my baby for the first time can't fully erase the terror I felt, convinced that both Me and I were going to die. If my husband hadn't found me when he did, I genuinely believe we wouldn't have survived. Even though it involved family, I'm no longer sure we should go easy on the person responsible. My hormones are all over the place, sleep is non-existent, and I needed outside perspective, which is why I'm sharing the full story here. Buckle up, it's long and there are several people involved. Richard has 2 younger sisters, Anna, 28F, and Emma, 24F. I've always had a wonderful relationship with both of them. We're not inseparable, but there's zero tension, and we stay in touch regularly despite busy careers, and in Emma's case, living in a different city. The other major player in this drama is my mother-in-law, Rachel, 53F. While I adore my sisters-in-law, Rachel and I have never clicked. She's an extreme control freak who needs everything to go exactly her way. Her 3 children usually bend to her wishes because she single-handedly raised them after their father walked out. Disobeying her triggers anything from sulking and passive-aggressive comments to full-blown crying fits and dramatic scenes. Most of the family has learned it's easier to keep the peace than to fight her. I've always kept my distance, and Richard is completely understanding about it. He knows how difficult his mother can be. For the most part, she leaves me alone because the feeling is mutual, and that arrangement worked, until it spectacularly didn't. The day Me was born was also Anna's wedding day. Anna's husband, Jonah, 30M, has been Rick's friend for years. When they got engaged, Anna asked me to be a bridesmaid, and I was honored. 6 months before the wedding, however, we discovered I was pregnant. I immediately told Anna I couldn't fulfill bridesmaid duties and asked her to replace me. I was terrified she'd be upset, but her reaction was the complete opposite. She was ecstatic about the baby. She even offered to postpone the entire wedding so I wouldn't miss it if I delivered early. In the end, the date stayed the same. Emma stepped up as maid of honor, and both sisters supported me constantly throughout a very rough pregnancy. The only person who seemed irritated that I was no longer a bridesmaid was Rachel. She never said it outright, but her attitude toward me turned noticeably colder from that point on. I chalked it up to wedding stress and pregnancy hormones making me oversensitive. I did my best to ignore it. Fast forward to the wedding day itself, 2 weeks ago. I was 40 weeks pregnant, swollen, miserable, and enormous, but Anna had insisted I be there. She was genuinely hurt when I offered to stay home so a massively pregnant lady wouldn't steal attention from her. She told me point blank that she didn't care about spotlight or drama, she just wanted her family with her. So I went, uncomfortable dress and all. People whispered, Rachel glowered from across the room, but I focused on Anna's happiness and tried to stay upright. Then, right before the ceremony started, I felt a wave of unease. I slipped upstairs to splash water on my face, not realizing Rachel was following me. Moments after I locked myself in the bathroom, my water broke, dramatically. Contractions hit hard and fast. Panicking, I opened the door and practically collapsed into Rachel's arms. I begged her to call Richard immediately. She helped me sit down, took my phone, and everything changed. She looked me dead in the eye and said she would get Richard, after the ceremony, in about an hour, because she refused to let me ruin Anna's day or steal the spotlight. I screamed that I couldn't wait an hour, tried to grab my phone back, but she shoved it in her purse, walked out, and locked the bathroom door from the outside. I was trapped, in labor, alone, No phone, no way out. I banged on the door and screamed until my voice gave out, but the ceremony music was playing downstairs and no one heard me. Exhaustion, pain, and terror took over. The last thing I remember is slumping against the wall, convinced I was going to die on that bathroom floor with my baby. I woke up hours later in the hospital, hooked to monitors, with Richard sobbing beside me. For a horrifying second, I thought me hadn't made it. Then a nurse walked in with our perfect, healthy daughter, and I burst into tears of relief. Richard explained that he'd found me unconscious, the door locked, my phone missing. Rachel apparently cracked under questioning and admitted everything. He was shaking with rage. He told me his mother was dead to him, that he was cutting her off completely, and that we would be pursuing charges for endangerment. Hearing him choose me so decisively lifted the heaviest weight off my chest. Anna, still in her wedding dress, Jonah, and Emma rushed to the hospital the moment the ceremony ended. Anna declared that having her niece, born on her wedding day, was the greatest gift imaginable and demanded photos in her gown with the baby. It was one of the most beautiful moments of my life. When Rachel tried to enter the room to see the baby, Anna blocked the door and told her in no uncertain terms that she would personally ensure we pressed charges if she ever came near us again. Over the next days, Richard informed his mother that she would never be part of me's life. She was no longer considered me's grandmother. The generous monthly support he and Emma had been giving her for years would be drastically reduced. Legal action was coming. She cried, played the victim, claimed she'd sacrificed everything for her kids. Richard didn't budge. Eventually, I convinced him to drop the criminal charges. Newborn life was overwhelming enough, but we all went no contact. Anna cut her off entirely, Emma limited contact to the bare minimum, and Richard and I blocked her everywhere. For a brief moment, I felt a twinge of guilt. Then, last week, everything exploded again. At 1 a.m., we woke to violent pounding on our front door. Rachel was outside, hysterical, demanding to see her granddaughter, trying to force her way in. Richard threatened to call the police. She left only when he started dialing. The next day, she sent a long, deranged string of texts. At first, it was standard guilt-tripping, but then it turned genuinely disturbing. She admitted she had always pitted her children against each other growing up, and expected the same with me. That a normal bride would have been furious about a pregnancy stealing focus. When none of us reacted that way, when we were all joyful about both the wedding and the baby, she felt threatened and replaced. She confessed she was jealous of an unborn child becoming the new center of family attention. She wrote that locking me in was her attempt to protect Anna's day and maintain her own relevance. I felt physically ill. This grown woman was in direct competition with my newborn daughter. We immediately forwarded everything to Anna and Emma. Both were horrified. Emma flew in the next day, dragged her mother to every possible medical and psychiatric evaluation, blood work, MRI, EEG, full psych assessments, trying to find any explanation, dementia, mania, thyroid storm, anything. Everything came back essentially normal except mild generalized anxiety disorder. No psychosis, no organic cause. The psychiatrist said, in plain words, that the behavior was volitional. Emma went no contact that same day. I would have institutionalized her myself if there had been a real illness, she told me. But this is just who she is. I'm done. We filed for a restraining order the following morning. The judge granted a 2-year order with a 500-foot boundary around our home, me's future preschool, and anywhere else we listed. We upgraded every camera, changed routines, switched phone numbers, everything necessary to keep my daughter safe from a woman who has shown twice that she is capable of anything when she feels she's losing control. Me is now 4 years old, happy, thriving, and has no idea that the woman on the other side of that legal wall even exists. She never will unless we decide otherwise, years from now, under strictly controlled circumstances, if ever. Some people choose cruelty when they feel they're being replaced. We chose our child. The door to reconciliation is locked tighter than that bathroom ever was, and the key was thrown away the moment she decided a baby was her rival. That is the only revenge we needed. Thank you for watching my story. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and press the bell icon. Stay tuned for more real-life stories, get more experiences.